It's okay. Doesn't really matter if you're old and gray. It's alright. I say it's okay. Listen to what I say. It's alright. Doing fine. Doesn't really matter if the sun don't shine. Rob Smith here. It's 7:06. Sorry. More phone calls. I got a lot going on. I got a lot of going on. Complicated too. What I may do is talk. So I got these here. I'm about to box them. Maybe talk for a moment about this. Put some drink in here. Yeah, I might do a live next Sunday. I'm not sure where I'm going to be exactly. We'll see. If you're watching, if you want to put anything in the comment area, that'd be just terrific. I hope when I land here in about, it's only in 2 weeks. I'll be there for that, but the week and a half I should be leaving. But the 2 weeks will be a Sunday, and hopefully I'll be more settled than I am right now. But who knows? This whole past week has been one set of surprise. It's been Gomer Pyle week. And not the kind of Gomer Pyle week you want. Certainly not the kind I want. Hold on, I'm just saying things. Hold on. We're on the phone. I got pens. Oh, looking for my live. Where's the live, guys? Can't find it. Maybe I'm not live. Am I live? How do I know? Well, I'm not getting what I need here. Sorry I'm starting late. Be nice. Come on, YouTube. But, you'd think they make this really easy for us, but they... So much... Here we go. I got it. And that's the end of that. So let me see if I can get out of this and turn much. Here we go. I got it. And that's the end of that. So let me see if I can get out of this. Oh, here we go. Unicorn Star. And that's the end of that. And turn the sound off. There it's not into cartoons. Who are we drawing today? Mickey Mouse? Not into cartoons. Can't get a more cartoony than Jack Davis. Great Jack Davis. He is... Mad Magazine, one of the stars, the only real Southerner of Mad Magazine. Great guy, friend of mine. This is something I bought from B. Dalton Bookstore many years ago. I have an original for one of these books. I'm not sure if it's this one or not. I think this is it. There's a candy store in here somewhere. It's not. I think it is actually. Oh, here. I have the original. That page right there. Huge Jack Davis fan. When I sold off my originals, the Davis I didn't sell them. Those are mine. I keep them. I'm a huge Jack Davis fan. He's a great guy. Fortunate to know him in his later years. But this book was a part of 2 sets. Do I have a cover? Here we go. There's a Mad Look at Old Movies a Mad Look at Old Movies and a return of a Mad Look at Old Movies. I'm planning a 50s malt shop theme for a surprise birthday party for a friend. What would a poster for the birthday party look like? Probably look like a 50s malt shop theme for a surprise birthday party for a friend. Huh? Yeah, just work it out. If you're planning a 50s malt shop, you better know the 50s, right? I'm not sure how old you are, Unicorn. Are you 438 years old? I'm just asking. That's the number you have on there. If you're 438 years old, you should know the 1950s here in the U.S. Oddly enough, these films mostly take place in the 50s that Mad Magazine did. These both written by Dick DeBarlo. This one entirely illustrated by Jack Davis. This one, Jack Davis and Mort Drucker did the first story. None of these are from Mad itself. These were all done independently, and they're because they are in the format of a paperback book. See, I love it. I love it. And I was doing a kind of a political cartoony thing here a number of years ago, and I was doing it in a similar format because I do like the way, especially with the internet being what it is. What would those books sell for? Man, I don't know. What would a man pay for? What would a woman? I think it all depends. We got pink on them probably. Maybe they go for something a little different. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I'm not selling them. As I said, I have an original artwork from this one, and I sold all my original artwork years ago. But my Jack Davis, I still have them. And then actually, here's another one he did. I just saw it. Here it is. I got them all wrapped it because I asked him to sign them and he thought that was silly because we were friends. That sounds silly. What kind of well then obviously you're not 438 years old or lived through the 50s. These are called paperback books. Usually you'd find them on a spindle in your local malt shop, like in the 50s. But these aren't. These are from the late 70s. And this is actually a collection of a sports comic strip he did for what magazine was. I don't remember sports. I couldn't care less about. It's some sports magazine, and he did this, which is almost exactly the same format. One panel, two panel, one panel, two panel. It's the best way to do it. And that, I think it's the best way to do it with the internet also. Anyway, so Mad did these. Mad used to do tons of paperback books, usually original material that wasn't otherwise seen in the magazine. These paperbacks were found. I bought this at B. Dalton. I don't know where. This one's been through a lot. And this, I don't know where I got this either, but it's been through a lot. So I only recently just bagged them. But there they go. All right, so Mad Magazine. Just those were handy as I'm packing things. I put those on. Hopefully, when I get to the new location, I can do this a little more easygoing. We'll see. Certainly not going through. Wow, I'm going through a mess right now. My goodness. So yeah, if you're not familiar with paperback books, that's first of all you should be reading them. I certainly read my share of books. I'm packing up so much stuff. Do I even have a regular paperback book handy with me? Actually, maybe I do. I do. This is a Scene of the Crime mystery. It was a series that was done. The hell was doing it? Dell. So Dell did these, and there's a great writer, Robert Barnard. Very hard to find these books. I think they were done in the 60s and 70s. Very good writer. Very good. These are all British mysteries. Good book. I'm holding it aside, take it with me, make sure I get to reading it, because I bought it when I was in Palm Bay. I'm only now just pulling it out to read it. Anyway, so that's what those books are, paperback books. If you want to know about malt shops, go watch. You could cheat and watch some movies with malt shops. Go watch a couple of Bowery Boys. Those actually took place pretty much before what we know as the malt shop, though malt shops were around in the 30s and 40s. Ice cream shops. I don't know where you live. In Florida, I can tell you where anything like that is. Just about all of them are gone. All right, but you're talking about malt shops. And what else we got here? Well, what could we do? Where, oh, where? Of course, I could talk about malt shops in Florida. Used to be one in Lake City. It was around a long time. That's north of Gainesville. There are ones that are being done kind of as what they call retro. There's one over, and oddly enough, if Lake City's here, High Springs is down here, and there's some folks, a couple of guys who started some sort of ice cream shop with the idea of it having that malt shop feel. But it's unlikely that's going to make it. Younger folks today just aren't. There's a hatred to history and ignorance to go along with it. So I don't think they'll make it. Sad but true. I'll be surprised they make it to the end of the year, and they might. They might. I'm not seeing. No more after what kind of books are those? Huh? Yeah, that's back when you could buy cheap. Now paperback books are like $10 each, which is ridiculous. People are buying things digitally, thinking that's the way to do something. No, that's not the way to do things. Backward thinking. He's got some ice cream on his face. I grew up with some shops like that in Orlando. Albert Drugs had a soda fountain with spinny chairs. Get a milkshake. Get a sundae. Awfully dainty. I just don't have his fingers sticking out. Oh, why not have his fingers sticking out? Very curious what I was just talking about where I'm heading to. Um, I'm very curious how I'm going to actually see if they want to join in on these lives. My friend Tom Hockman thinks I should have a co-host. I disagree. Let's show this is a greedy little lad. Why not? I admit I'm tired. Long day today, last few days. I'm gonna be tired, I think, all the way till I move, which looks like it won't be this week. It'll be next week, but that could change in seconds. All right, well, I kind of messed up that arm. Multi-shop. I'm pretty familiar with multi-shop images. I'm not making the poster for you. I'm doing I'm making up an image telling a story of something involving an ice cream shop. This got down in here. Whereabouts are you located, kiddo? What unicorn? 438 years old. I wish we could. I wish these type of places would survive, but the diner, this kind of concept, are just not acceptable to the younger crowd today. They just don't want it to be around. They want to drive through and get some schlock from McDonald's and Burger King and want good food, which explains the obesity problem, which explains our health problems, which so on and so forth. And from the UK comes Che White, Whitey. That's thinking about the Bowery Boys. There was a character. Well, he was a character actor named Whitey. He was not just named that in the series, but he was named that throughout his life. He was known as Whitey. He did a lot of bit parts. 30s till his death. I think it was late. He died 69, 70, somewhere in there. He's alive. A lot of work. It's really interesting. I saw a video of someone doing an interview in Australia, and an Australian accent is much like the British, but you could tell by where the video was done, it's not the UK. You could tell the UK. You know when you're in the UK. You can't tell, but so when they're out, you could tell that it looked like the US with Australian accents, because Australia does unfortunately um, ape the our American ways. UK has smaller right away and all that. I hope this works. I don't know. I'm just making this up as I go. How are things, Shay White? Great thing to get at a place like Albert Drug Store, where I grew up with, was the grilled cheese sandwich, which could be messy. Some cheese dripping out. And thank y'all for joining in. If you want, you click the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I did that arm kind of weird, but I had a situation I did put myself into over there. So he probably has a dish. It was a great place called the Little Drug Store over in New Smyrna Beach. And they'd been around since 1922, 23, and they closed now about 4 or 5 years ago. But I got a chance to go there. They were subject of my annual Christmas print, historic Christmas print, which I did an illustration of the place. And they served hot dogs, hamburgers. It was originally an old movie theater. So, pharmacist took me to the back. In the back, you saw all the armature to hold up the screen, and the place. There were steps that went up to the second, so they could set lights and all. It was quite a nifty place. This is not a good layout because I don't, it doesn't move, and I need to see if I can get it to move. So maybe I'll make use of a fork here. Let's turn the wrong way, but I need to get that movement going. I'll just turn it that way. Problem when you make up a drawing as you go, sometimes you don't quite get just what you want. So you got to make it happen. The conversation about my trip involves getting back to doing some of the drawings I used to do where I would watercolor, and might just do that just for fun. There's Amy Roblicki, 5'8". Look. I thought Unicorn Star was old at 438, but Amy Roblicki is 5,867 years old. I like to see your social security number. Anyway, reminds me of Woolworth. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. That's not funny how often that's come up. We had a block in Orlando, the Woolworth McCrory Woolworth block, and I was part of trying to save it. I built helped my friend Claude and I built a 3D. Built the entire complex with Woolworth, McCrory, and the shoe store, and the doctor's office, and the barber, and we did used fiberglass build for the buildings and lights and streets and all, and still the awful mayor Buddy Dyer tore it down the wee small hours of the morning. There was agreement. There's a city council did an agreement. The city council said okay. As soon as they said okay, the fellow guy who was doing it, can't get his name right now, but he was in the audience, made a phone call to the demolition guy, and the demolition guy immediately started bulldozing. I know that because the demolition guy was a friend of mine, and he called me the before within 12 hours or so, apologizing. He said, "Look, it was a job, and that was my job." He knew how much work I'd done trying to save it. I shouldn't have made that so thick. But that it came up with just in the past week. Well, what happened was City of Orlando went ahead. I worked for the City of Orlando for 20 years, in planning and engineering. The city went ahead and did by vote did a this is unbelievable. They did a oh, now I'm forgetting that too. I guess as I say, I'm a little tired this last few days. But they did a complete blockage of being able to do not demolition. They actually blocked the historic preservation office moratorium. They did a moratorium on the Orlando historic preservation, uh, which I was a part of and worked with so extensively. That was decades ago, which is sad. But the Warwick McCrory's were torn down, and the guy who did it ended up costing city taxpayers some. Um, I should get her arm kind of right here. $38 million because he didn't. He walked out of the deal. He got his money. He didn't care. Then he was doing it at the exact same time in Jacksonville, and he cost taxpayers there $42 million. He made his money. Lying thieving weasels. Not as much historic was torn down for the Jacksonville one as Orlando. But we lost our McCrory Woolworth. I loved it when I was at City Hall. I'd run that. Well, growing up, we'd go. Growing up, we really went to the one over at Colonial Plaza Mall. We didn't go to that one so much. When I was working at the city, I went there quite a bit. Got fried chicken. It was good old fried chicken. And here's where you go back in and you start to beef up your lines so that the chair is in front of the lady. I want to make sure I did that. Wow, this perspective looks off, but hey, I'm doing this without any pencils. That was what the one my dad took me to. This is Steve's daughter. Steve's daughter. Who? Steve Voorhees' daughter? Or Steve, Angie's Steve? No, so you're saying the same place in Orlando. Steve Voorhees' daughter. Oh, well, Steve Voorhees had the coolest job in the world. He worked at and I'm glad you're doing well, Shay White, over there in England. The guy was with Don Philpott. Don Philpott, for Amy, too, is from Hull. Anyway, he's now here. He's been in the U.S. for a few decades. He's written a history of a little community called Ethel that's in between the Wekiva River and Rock Springs Run. And then he's gone and done. He's president of the Wekiva Wilderness Trust. I actually got his card right here. And he and I were talking about writing Florida history. I was with a Florida history authors event last night. All day yesterday when I talked. Yeah, Don Philpott. So he's a good guy. We were talking about stuff, and we were talking about Oh, how is that? How is that? Voorhees, yeah. Well, that's yeah. Steve was great. So Steve used to work at A&W Root Beer, which Shay White won't know. You. I don't think you all in the UK. You all didn't have people that could just drive. You didn't have drive-in for milkshakes. Well, we just had it happen with the soccer group. So many people from the UK going to finding out, discovering there's some place called Popeye's Chicken. What's that? Well, we had actually even more better places decades ago, and one was A&W Root Beer, which now is basically the A&W Root Beers I was at. There's only two left open here in the U.S. In Florida, and I was just at the one that's in Spring Hill about 2 weeks ago because I go there, and I think of Steve every time I go in there as D. I hope so. One of y'all has his name tag and keep it. I'd say give it to the History Museum. I'm afraid they'd lose it. And since Steve has so much family that's spread about, hopefully, I'd say try to keep it in the family right now. That's what I'd say. But he worked. He was. But at the time, A&W Rooper was a place we could drive in, and someone like Steve might be making the banana split or the shake, but young ladies would go out roller skate out to your car and serve it, which seems impossible. I don't think anything like that exists in the UK, but I could be wrong. And thank you for joining, Amy. You found it good. Keep it someplace safe. But that's a very rare item right there. I mentioned it to somebody at one of the museums because we were talking about. I think it was at Seminole County Historical Museum, and there, Lloyd was interested. Oh, I wish we had that because that part of our history is something that disappears. It doesn't stay. Um, and it's funny. Most of the talk at the history event I was at yesterday, the Florida history event, most all of it was about wars: the Seminole Indian Wars, Civil War, World War I, World War. I'm not into all that stuff. I love the history, the integrity of the common everyday Joe having a job at Woolworth or A&W Root Beer or working over at Ivy's or being over at the Burdines. Or working like old friend Joe. It's like, see, I'm slipping on names, but Joe was an accountant over there on North Orange Avenue. Uh, um, I'm failing with names here. Oh, that's terrible. Robert and Andy Saros. Andy was an accountant. Robert was an eye doctor. I love the histories of all that because it tells how everyday life was. And so many young people, and I'm glad, Amy, I did cooking lessons at school and college. Did you learn how to make an A&W burger? Is that I'm not trying to figure a connection there. You didn't have but Jay, you don't have places where people could drive up and roller skate and serve you hot dogs or hamburgers in the UK. I mean anywhere. I mean you can't go to Manchester, you can't go down to Peckham, you can't go to any of those places. There's no I don't think there's anything like that ever been in the UK. It was happening here. We did our and that's again back to the Australia versus UK. Australia was spread out like we have it here in the US. UK is very condensed. And I think I love that. I absolutely love it. The narrow streets, the buildings, the density is just fascinating. So I love that. I'm glad y'all didn't. But, well, so, I mean, what they look like, um, again, I'm not using pencils, guys. You have a center concrete, and then a car could park. If I can do this here. And I'm thinking specifically the A&W used to be on Colonial Drive where Steve worked. There's almost nothing of that. So many folks I've talked to don't remember it. We all know Beefy King. We all know so many places. Oh, I'm not doing it right. I'm not doing it because each of these are at an angle. You really need to lay that out. But it goes back to a building like this. There's one of these in North Carolina. It's an all American something. It's in just south of Greensboro. And there's a semblance of this at Jimbo's Barbecue in Lakeland. They have the building in the back where they make all the food. So you have windows here, and then and the door. But this one of the spots are over this way, and you just drive in. They come serve you. Of course, Grace tuning. I was Don Philbot told me he talked to Grace. He said she lives on the Wekiva River. I was just talking about Wekiva River with Tom Hoffman, so I apologize. He was talking about how he and his son have been going there here. But thank you, Amy. I'm so glad you're caring enough for your father's stuff to keep it. That's so important. So if you have any copies of the old city hallways that you found, please. I had a full set from when I started in '85 up to when I left in 2006. It appears I lost all of those in the move I had to make here a few years ago. And apparently there's not a good collection of them around. And again, the historical museum, and I go on into a whole thing about how this happened, but it became a regional history center. So they're collecting things from all kinds of places. They should have concentrated on just Orange County and the city of Orlando, but that didn't happen. But I'm glad. Thank you for coming here, Amy. I really appreciate that. I missed. We need people with senses of humor, which Steve definitely had. There was something at place else, which is a little more people know more about. A place called Burger Chef. There's only one building left in the entire state, and that's over in Oakland Park, just west of Fort Lauderdale. And it's the original Burger Chef. Now there are a couple other places, Burger Chef buildings that are around, but they don't have the original armature that was on top, which the Oakland Park store does. And there used to be a sign up here, Burger Chef. Burger Chef was a later. There's a whole thing I could get into about what we now call the fast food industry. Steve was oddly enough part of the early version of all that because it all flew apart in the '70s. By that time, he was working at City Hall. That was good timing for him to be out of it because it all fell apart. Suddenly, all kinds. That's when the Roy Rogers started closing, and Burger Chef was closing, and it was just we'd gone nuts, and everybody was doing a fast food place, and not everyone could go there or wanted to go there. And there was also suddenly there was more talk about health food too. I don't recall the A&W root beer place specifically. Vaguely, we used to walk from College Park to Colonial Plaza and back. I have a very vague memory of it because it was gone entirely. I think by '72 or '3, which is when there was a big bunch of closures. But anyway, that's that right there. And thank you all for being here. If you want to click the thumbs up. I forget to do it. I should. And I hope to be doing more here. I'm going to be getting into doing some color. That's for sure. Of course, I don't know if Amy remembers Albert Drugs. I will leave early. All right, see you later, Shay White over there in the UK, who didn't really respond to that about drive-ins, but I think she is a little young. I don't believe they ever had a drive-in over there, or much of anywhere in Europe. But as I said, I grew up with Albert Drugs in Orlando. It was like this, but we had there was actually a divider here, divided folks. Well, that's Madam I drew her on this side of it. That kid's now huge. Look how big I made that kid. What you do when you pencil, when you don't use pencils, you just think you make boo boos like that. But that's it right there. And I remember that he was asking about there was a spindle. I don't know if it was comic books or books right here. Because the entry was actually way down there. You came in through the back door. Young people can't imagine that. You enter through the back door. It was one of the entrances. I need to use a different pen than this to draw, and I really should pencil that out. A little too. That's gonna be confusing. It wasn't that tall, but I think it did have a little sign. It was comics. Missy Busby was here. She'd tell us. She'd straighten me out quick about it. But and then there were aisles. I had this way too symmetric. Just too symmetric. And it does need some color because it's confusing too. And one way you could solve that is I have one pen. These are the pens I had out with me at the Florida History Authors event. Of course, if you've seen yes, I'm sure Amy's seen my Christmas prints. I love line. And when you don't have color, you just use line. And suddenly things start to separate. Start knowing where you are and where you aren't. I do a lot of line. This can get boring, I know, but it's actually interesting to me, the idea of form. I believe these were all cheap wood paneling, too, at Albert Drugs. And you could walk down this aisle and come out the other side, and you'd be at the cashier where you can pay for whatever it is you got. It was pretty much an honor system because you could race out the back door and not pay for anything. They had hamburgers, hot dogs, they had meatloaf. I think I still have a menu from Albert Drugs. Mr. Albert was a very nice fellow. So I can make other things disappear too. Suddenly she's not as important as she was, so you just get all some lines through her. I hope to be doing more of these lives, and I really do thank Amy for being here, and Shay White, and the unicorn of 438 years. Because I really do need an audience. I work best being a caricaturist for far too many years. I don't know if Amy's still here, but I don't think I think Steve Lefty never got a retirement card by me, or maybe I'm wrong about that. So many did. I don't believe he did. I was really surprised that Angelo Roman posted the event I was at last Tuesday in the City Hall page on Facebook. I was really surprised the heck out of me. The authors event makes more sense, but the Vets Helping Vets, Tom Belknap, I was a good guy. And old Howard's 102. And Carl's 96. He'll be 97 at the end of August. I won't be here apparently for that, it looks like. For his birthday. I usually do a birthday card for him. I won't be, I'd do that. As I am not one to mail things. Maybe a little too much line work. But oh well, there you go. For what it's worth. I can color her hair. Yeah, no happy bunnies in this one. I hope to be here for Rabbit Rabbit on the 1st. I'll probably do it here. Happy 1st of July, Rabbit Rabbit. I definitely need luck. My life has definitely gotten chaotic. And that head's way too big for that child. Ooh, I think it's running out of ink. These are actually very expensive. I bought these years ago, and I used them to ink my Christmas print. And it just happened to be handy. I took it with me to. I didn't use it yesterday. I took it to the signed books. And I'm anxious to get the Ross Allen book now done, even if I am missing some things, just because I didn't get done. Things keep getting my way. So there's, and today is June 28th, all quiet on the right. Thank you all. Thank all who are here, any who are still here. I appreciate it. Again, if you get a chance to click the thumbs up, if you haven't subscribed, I appreciate that too. I love to get subscribers up, and one reason why I'll be doing more lives. I might even try doing some on the road because I'm going to be more. Where I'm moving to is over Pensacola, the Panhandle, and I'm sorry, I moved that so you can't see that upper area. Um, and I'm going to be buying more parks, but we'll see. Rather have somebody help me with that, but we'll see what happens. How unfortunate. Oh, ding ding. Well, maybe that's the bell for me to go. Thank you all for being here, Rob Smith. If nothing else, I hope to be back maybe the first, which is Wednesday or Thursday, for Rabbit Rabbit and draw a couple bunnies for to start the month off for good luck. After my friend Dickie Joe Mullen, so glad Shay White was here, Unicorn Star, and of course Amy Roblicki. Memories of the great Steve Voorhees. Need more people with senses of humor like that in our world. Take care, Rob Smith. Have a good night. Good night.